It's here, it's arrived. Apple has finally released the brand new iMac and it's very, very exciting, a huge upgrade from the old one. One of the really exciting things about this launch, which is quite simple but quite cool, is that it's coming in 7 different color options. We are getting the brand new redesigned iMac with M1 chip in a light green, yellow, orange, red, purpley blue, deep blue, and classic silver. We're going to run through the specs, but I do just want to flood you with images at the very beginning and just show you how beautiful it looks because it does look very, very cool. Now you might be wondering, what about the Magic Keyboard and Magic Mouse? They all come in color coordinated options as well, so very satisfying. I think one of the things that's most interesting about this new iMac is the fact that it's only like 11 millimeters thick. It's super, super thin. It's like a phone almost, but it's a fully fledged computer. We will go through the specs. It's not some crazy gaming machine, but as per most iMac general products, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. The overall volume has actually decreased by about 50% on the previous generation iMac, so it's definitely a hell of a lot smaller. Now obviously it's on your desk, so you might be thinking, I don't mind an extra 2 mil, I don't mind an extra 10 mil, but I think it's going to look really striking as you walk past it. If we take a look at the front of the design, we have these narrow bezels. We have the screen contained in the top half, and I'm just guessing that that's some speakers directly below. It does sort of reminisce on the previous iMac designs that we've had over the years, but we have lost the Apple logo on the front. I guess you're just supposed to know this is an iMac now because of how striking it looks. The new screen is 24 inches and it's 4.5K resolution. Fantastic. This of course is an increase on the previous generation, which was only a 21.5 inch screen. It's got an anti-reflective coating, true to tone color, lots of various different cool features. However, one of the really exciting things here is that Apple is including the M1 chip. So this is Apple's first ever chip that they are manufacturing themselves. Like, instead of using Intel as they have done for many, many years, they've gone down the process of making their own chip, a very long and exhausting process, I'm guessing, and they're giving us the M1, and it sounds very exciting. Given that they're using their own processor and they can build it full purpose in their devices, this computer only has 2 very small fans at the back. And again, we only have like 11 millimeters of thickness, so you can imagine how small they are. This is going to be very efficient on cooling. Here we can see a photograph of it full screen. We can see we have it in the beautiful yellow color. Very stylish. I do like the Apple logo on the back as well. I like how square and rounded off it is. It's just kind of sharp and aggressive. In terms of the performance, as usual, Apple is not giving us firm numbers in terms of gigahertz and test speeds and stuff like that, so we will have to wait until, you know, the community of YouTube get their hands on it and run it through Geekbench and all the various testing softwares. However, in true Apple fashion, they are claiming that the device is 85% faster in CPU performance, up to 2 times faster in GPU performance for certain apps like Affinity Pro and Photoshop, and up to 50% faster than the discrete graphics card in the other Macs. Considering that it has a very, very thin design, we are expecting some sort of thermal throttling. We don't know how efficient these fans are going to be at pulling high temperatures out of a GPU and a CPU, so I don't think we're looking at like a high-end gaming machine, but I don't think that's really what they were aiming for with this device whatsoever. Anyway, the new M1 is also able to do a fantastic job at sharpening up 1080p images using its neural engine and image signal processor. With regards to this, for us as consumers, we're talking about higher dynamic range, obviously done digitally, HDR sort of things, and lower noise, improved exposure and white balance. Apple are the kings at optimizing simple hardware, whilst other phone manufacturers, for example, often pack in 12 gigabytes of RAM, 65-watt wireless charging and wired charging, high-speed everything. Apple tends to focus on using relatively humble specs on the devices, low RAM, low storage, and focusing on optimizing things, or selling you some extra cloud storage. The iMac is also said to contain a really powerful array of 6 speakers which are designed to work with Dolby Atmos and give you that surround sound spatial awareness feel. And in addition to this, it also has a 3 microphone array which is said to be studio quality, so that will be super, super interesting. Some people will be very happy to hear and some people will be very unhappy to hear that I don't think it's coming with touchscreen or any sort of touch functions. We are seeing the introduction of Touch ID into the keyboard, which is pretty cool, so you can unlock your device using your fingerprint. Something which we've seen with some of the other devices for a while, so it's definitely a welcome touch on the iMac. The reason I say I think some people will be happy that there's no touchscreen is a lot of people just hate fingerprints on that screen. Obviously it has an anti-glare coating, but yeah, even still, some people are very, very precious about their MacBooks and the iMac screens being touched. So in true Apple style, we're seeing a minimal design with minimal ports. So if you do use a lot of peripherals, you're most likely going to have to use a few adapters to get everything to plug in properly. However, if you do go for the 8 core version, the octa-core version of their processor, you get an extra 2 USB Type-C ports, so at least that helps out a little bit as well. We're also seeing a 1GB Ethernet connection in the power adapter, so I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but that sounds quite exciting. What I'm just guessing this is, which I think is really cool, is instead of having a ton of different wires going into the machine, the power adapter can carry both the Ethernet and the power to the machine, and then at the power block there's a separator where you can plug in your Ethernet wire. So that would be amazing, especially with it being like a desktop machine, and if we're talking about a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, we really are moving ever so slightly closer to this wireless world, which is very, very exciting. Pricing. Let's get straight into pricing, shall we? The 24-inch iMac with an 8-core processor and 7-core GPU starts at $299. This includes a 256GB, so quarter of a terabyte SSD, 8GB of RAM, and that's uniform memory as well, so it's a bit more efficient than some of the RAM that you can get in older machines. A Magic Mouse, a Magic Keyboard, Thunderbolt ports. However, they do have an optional upgrade spec, and this is the 8 GPU core iMac. This also has an 8-core CPU, it's just an extra core that you're getting on the GPU. We're talking pretty much the same specs here. Quarter of a terabyte SSD, 2 Thunderbolt ports, 2 additional USB 3 ports, Magic Mouse, Magic Keyboard with Touch ID, and the power block with Ethernet. So it's a pretty complete package. It looks like you can kind of buy it and set it up. With regard to the colors, Apple has played around here. So the yellow and orange color options are exclusive to the 8-core version, the 8-core GPU version. So the version that has that 1 extra core gets these 2 extra colors, whereas you can't get those colors with the standard 7-core GPU versions. So if you go to someone's house and they've got the yellow or the orange one, you know they spent a few extra $100, you know, getting the faster one. In terms of where this fits into Apple's lineup, it seems like this is really a sort of general consumer product, sort of the computer that the family can use, have it sat on a desk. It doesn't look like a super powerful machine that you're going to be using for intense video editing, like the iMac Pro, for example. It seems like they are trying to slot it very strictly into a certain area in their lineup, and it's definitely not here to compete with their cheese grater. The specs look very humble: 8GB of RAM, 8-core CPU, 7-core to 8-core GPU. It's quite, I'm not going to say economy, but I imagine it's going to be optimized. I'm expecting low power consumption, I'm expecting quiet fans, I'm expecting just sort of a nice little small package that'll sit on the desk and good for emails, good for surfing, maybe some video editing as well, maybe some music production, but not so much an office machine, not so much a commercial machine that you would use for doing heavy lifting, right? Orders are going to be beginning on the 30th of April, and we're expecting the devices to be arriving to people midway through May. So that's pretty much here, and it's very exciting. It's cool to see Apple doing something new. I always get very excited to see their designs. If you want to see more tech content, I would definitely consider smashing the subscribe button, because then you can see more content all through the week, because I do post twice a week. I want to say a huge thank you for watching. It's a very exciting video today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.